Mi nombre es Yesina Castro, nací y crecí en Hood River y mis papás son de Mexico. I grew up in Parkdale, which is closer to Mount Hood, always surrounded by trees, surrounded by lush forests, lots of space, and I never really knew what outdoors meant outside of being outside in my backyard and playing in the orchards and getting lost in the woods until I probably got to high school and I started hearing about the hikes and social media started getting more popular and people were posting all these pictures and tagging Hood River. It's like, what? That's here? Where? And it wasn't until I was able to drive and I got my license when I was 16 that I started looking for these places. Thought it was something for the rich kids. Or I knew that the rich kids were the ones doing those activities. It didn't feel like it was a space for me or my family. And it was really hard in the beginning to really accept that and to get to a point where I understood that it was for everyone. Because kids first didn't look like me and my family. They were all white kids and they all had the fun stuff, like all the really expensive gear that I would see in the downtown stores that my parents didn't take me to because they couldn't afford it. It wasn't until I started working at a nonprofit organization that I realized you just need some comfortable shoes. Until people experience what it's like to be outdoors, they don't really know the benefits of it. I've talked to a lot of people that I've taken on hikes for the first time, and after the hike they said, wow, I feel happier. I was so depressed being indoors and I didn't know that just simply being outside, listening to the birds or listening to the leaves rustle would make me so happy. So I want to bring more of that happiness and health into people's lives. I was doing it with a program first, and now I'm just doing it on my own time with friends. So everybody knows there's this program called Latin Explorers, and it's ours. It belongs to the community. The community came up with the name. The organization I was working under didn't come up with the name. So everybody owns it, and we've just kind of, on our own time, whenever we have time, I'll call up a friend and say, hey, you want to take people out? Put a little post on Facebook, and we take the group out. We first kind of put together the idea of an adventure. Like, let's go on this tiny adventure, let's just do something different. And really the conversation where we start connecting the health and the outdoors comes once we start hearing comments from the people that we take outside. We get more comments from older Mexican women that say they're feeling depressed and that starts telling us that they're feeling happier by just being outside. And we start asking them, well, do you think that makes you feel healthier? Absolutely, absolutely. And then they want to be outside more. The transportation issue has been huge. And of course, when you're talking as a public health student, thinking about all the other things, if you don't have food in your belly, if you don't have childcare for your kids, you can't even get to a spot where you're thinking about hikes, right? So right now, the biggest issue has been getting people to the trails. Because if it's not me driving people around, we need buses or we need vans, and that's expensive. I love the feeling of being in untouched scenery, like no benches, no concrete, where you can just be in space and be by yourself and just enjoy the fresh air, enjoy all the greenery and the views.